Hello dear student, welcome back. Let's start with new video. Today we are going to talk about very special, very interesting topic from your grammar. This is really very interesting. Let me introduce my board to you that what exactly we are going to do today. See, phrase. What is a phrase? See, the phrase is a group of words which make a sense but not complete sense. This is the nominal part of a sentence actually. It cannot give its sense actually, right? I'll give you some example later. And next one is the clause. What is a clause? Yes, clause is a group of words in a sentence which becomes the part of sentence because it has a subject and a predicate. That's why it gives some sense to it. It's a part of sentence, right? Next one is the classification of clause and clauses, right? How? Simple sentence. Structurally, we can divide in three parts the simple sentence. What is the simple sentence? I will let you know. And the number two is the compound sentence, and number three is the complex sentence. These are three kind of sentences that we can divide and classify structurally. But further, there are three more parts of the clauses in a sentence. See how? See, the independent clause. What is independent clause? What is principal clause? Sometimes we used to call it. Yes, because it can stand alone, it can give its meaning alone by its own. अपने आप अपने बारे में पूरा बता देता because it has a subject and predicate, right? Number two is the dependent clause. Dependent clause is a clause in the sentence who has to depend on principal clause to give its complete मीनिंग. अपना पूरा मीनिंग बताने के लिए इसे प्रिंसिपल क्लॉज पे, इंडिपेंडेंट क्लॉज पे डिपेंड रहना पड़ता है. एंड दीज इंडिपेंडेंट क्लॉज हैज बीन डिवाइडेड फर्दर. दीज आर सबऑर्डिनेट क्लॉज. डिपेंडेंट को सबऑर्डिनेट भी बोलते हैं. व्हाई सबऑर्डिनेट? बिकॉज इट हैज टू डिपेंड ऑन अदर्स एंड इट हैज बीन डिवाइडेड. सी, डिपेंडेंट क्लॉजेस, नाउन क्लॉज, एडजेक्टिव क्लॉज एंड एडवर्ब क्लॉजेस. ऑल दीज थ्री come under subordinate clause. It has to depend on principal clause, independent clause to give its meaning. See, let me tell you that there are so many subordinate words. Like first of all, noun. See here, noun. How, what, when, where, whether, if, why, whose, whosoever, what, whatever, who, whoever, whom, whomsoever, whoever, which, whichever. These are some subordinate in the noun clause by which we identify and recognize that yes, this is a noun clause, right? Next one is adjective clause, and there are some identifier. वहां भी कुछ identify करने के लिए है जिसमें पता चलता है कि this is adjective clause है. No doubt subordinate है. It has to depend on principal clause. Which, where, when, who, whom, that, whose, when, why, etc. These are some adjective clause. From where it starts. These are the words. इन शब्दों से शुरू होने वाला जो clause है, obvious सी बात है कि वो adjective clause होगा. And now adverb clause. It has so many. After, although, as if, because, before, even, it, as far as, since, though, unless, until, as soon as long as well as, whatever, whenever, wherever, whether, while. Right? These are some words. These are some subordinate clause. ठीक है, जहां से ये शुरू होता है. अगर ये शब्द कहीं भी सेंटेंस में यूज हुआ है, सबऑर्डिनेट, एज ए सबऑर्डिनेट, बिकॉज दीज आर द वर्ड हु कैन नॉट गिव इट्स कंप्लीट एंड कैन नॉट स्टैंड अलोन. इट हैज टू डिपेंड ऑन द प्रिंसिपल, क्योंकि इसको प्रिंसिपल पे रहना है. सो एवरीथिंग दैट स्टार्ट विद दिस वर्ड, थिंक कि ये सबऑर्डिनेट क्लॉज है. एंड दैट सबऑर्डिनेट क्लॉज इज फ्रॉम वेयर? ये एडवर्ब क्लॉज है, राइट? सी, these are the word, these answer the when, where, how. Okay, answers. ये आंसर करता है when, कि कब. Okay, where, कहाँ, how, and to what degree, कितनी मात्रा तक, and under what conditions, right? It gives the answer of these words, right? I will let you know that how this can be, used in the sentence. Let's come back to the phrase. I will let you know that what is phrase, what is clause, and what are these structural classification of the sentences. Phrase. Number one, phrase, because this is a group of word in a sentence. Actually, very nominate part of the sentence. At sunset. See, they rested. They rested at sunset. Sunset pe rest kar rahe. Alright? See, the lost puppy. The lost puppy was a bat and stinky dog. It has two phrases in the sentence here. Next, the sports car drove the long and winding road. It has two again here, two phrases. Next, it was a story as old as time. This is again a phrase. It's not possible, it is not able to give its complete sense. Next, getting a promotion is exciting. Not this. Actually, this is a phrase here, getting a promotion. The clauses. What is a clause? See, the clause is a group of words which forms a part of a sentence and contains subject and a predicate of its means. It is capacity to give its meaning by its own. See, I saw and know him means we have a subject and a predicate, and when we have all these things means इसको connect करने के लिए हमारे पास एक verb भी होगा. Yes, of course. Saw or knew, saw, see, right? Then she attended the seminar. She is the subject. See, this is the seminar here, the predicate, and the number two, the she and he loves sports cars. Sports car is the predicate here, right? Loves, okay, and he is the subject now. And classification of clauses, we can classify clauses in two parts. The first one is the independent clause, and sometimes we call it a principal clause. Why? Because it's standalone. It is capacity to give its meaning by its own. भी अपने आप पूरी ये सेंस बता देता है. Okay, in a sentence like she plays cricket. Plays cricket. समझ आता है हमें कि कुछ पूरी सेंस दे रहा है किसी बारे में. Do you know this man? क्या आप इस आदमी को जानते हो? And he wrote a letter. उसने एक letter लिखा. Right? It has everything that we need, demand to understand. It is a independent capacity to give its own meaning. And now here, dependent. What are the dependent? Dependent clauses are those clauses which has to depend on the principal clause to give its complete meaning. See, and whenever you find such word, जब भी आपको इस तरह के word मिलते हैं, the subordinated dependent clause आपको दिखती है, means these are the clauses like वो noun clause हो सकते हैं, adverb clause हो सकते हैं, या फिर adjective clause हो सकते हैं. See here, it is quite evident. It's quite evident is the principal clause. We understand that what is that? ये तो बिल्कुल निश्चित है. What निश्चित है? That rain will fall today. That rain will key. What is this? This is the subordinate here. This is the dependent. See, this clause is dependent on the first one. Next, I don't know. This is the independent here. And who has stolen my purse? Who has stolen my purse? It has to depend on this one. किस चीज पे? मुझे नहीं मालूम. क्या नहीं मालूम? किसने मेरा पर्स चोरी किया? Next, he told me a secret. This is the independent clause, principal clause. It is capacity to give its meaning by its own, which I must not reveal. जिसका मतलब है कि मुझे reveal नहीं करना है. अगर सिर्फ इतना ही होता, which I must not reveal, what is the meaning of that? No. However rich he became, चाहे वो कितना भी अमीर बन जाए, it's a dependent clause, क्योंकि इससे exactly हमें पता नहीं चल रहा है. So he was not happy. या चाहे वो कितना भी अमीर बना, लेकिन वो happy नहीं था. Right? He was not happy is a principal clause. Okay, and dependent one is however. So these are some special words. See through the slide. There are some subordinate and dependent words which give us hint that yes, this is the noun clause, this is the adjective clause, and this is the adverb clause. Let's discuss structural classifications of clauses here. See, in respect of clause, there are three kind of sentences. The first one is simple, second compound, and third is a complex sentence. Let's have a look. Simple sentence. Simple sentences are those sentences in which we have only one clause, in which we have only subject and a predicate, जिसमें सिर्फ एक चीज के बारे में one stretch में हमें पता चल जाता हो. See, like the boy broke his leg, अपनी टांग तोड़ी है उसने. Okay, she washed her clothes, उसने अपने कपड़े धोए. Right? Nikita stood first in her class, अपनी ही क्लास में first आई. Next, I wrote a letter. I wrote a letter. See, in these sentences we can understand very easily that there is something about, मतलब एक ही चीज के बारे में इसमें बताया जा रहा है. वन स्ट्रेच में हमें पता चल जाता है. सब्जेक्ट है, एक वर्ब है, एक प्रेडिकेट. ओके, द नेक्स्ट, ही हैज टू फिनिश, करना पड़ा. ओके, एन अर्जेंट वर्क, अर्जेंट वर्क उसको खत्म करना पड़ा. ठीक है, फिनिश इज हियर. जस्ट ओके. नाउ शी इज टू वीक टू वॉक. वो वॉक करने के लिए बहुत क्या थी, वीक थी. मीन्स एक clause है ये. Next one is compound sentences. The compound sentences are those sentences in which we have two principal clause. Both clause are independent and they are able to give their meaning by its own. Say, Aditi saw Arya, first clause and independent है, and she became happy. Both are independent, both are principal. Why? Because these are two clause. And both are giving meaning to us. You must work hard. वर्षा करना चाहिए. And you will fail. These are two independent clause which are telling us something. Okay, now we have and or. Although they are joining, इन दोनों को वो join कर रहा है. But how and why? That I will tell you in the next video. That how simple to simple, simple to compound, and compound to complex, and complex to simple can be changed. Okay, now see here. He is rich. He is rich. Okay, but he is not proud at all. Both are independent, both are principal, both are capable to give its meaning. And he has left home because her stepmother ill-treated her. Her stepmother, हमें बिकॉज की जरूरत नहीं है यहाँ पे. अगर सिर्फ ये देखना है कि कंपाउंड सेंटेंसेस आर दो सेंटेंसेस इन विच वी हैव टू प्रिंसिपल क्लॉज बिकॉज दे आर इंडिपेंडेंट टू गिव इट्स ओन मीनिंग बाय इट्स ओन. नेक्स्ट वन इज थर्ड, कॉम्प्लेक्स. Complex sentences are those sentences in which we have one principal clause and one and more subordinate and dependent clause. And those dependent clause are कौन है, subordinate कौन है? Yes, noun clause, adverb clause, and adjective clause. So the same example here. I like the boys. This is the principal clause because पूरा पता चल रहा है मुझे ऐसे लड़के पसंद है. I like the boys. मुझे किस तरह के पसंद है? Who work hard. जो कठोर मेहनत करते. Who work hard. Who is here? You start with the, ये subordinate हो जाता है. Means every sentence which has subordinate is almost, आप देखोगे कि वो क्या होते हैं, complex sentence, because it has only one principal clause. It's independent, and the subordinate one is dependent on the principal clause to give its true meaning. Next, she wants to know. She wants to know. Independent है. If she has passed, क्या वो pass हुई है? Okay, this is here. Dependent. And I went to the place. कौन से place पे गया? Where I had lost my purse. Okay, I went to the place. Yes, जगह पे गया था. मैं एक जगह पे गया था जहाँ पे where. Where is what? Complex का पता चलता है कि ये complex sentence है. Okay, he lost the book. That he lost the book is independent here. That I had given him, जो मैं उसको दी थी, जो मैंने उसको दी थी. See, I had to solve this sum. I had to solve this sum. क्योंकि ये sum solve करना पड़ा था, which was very difficult. Which was which? In the next video, I will tell you each and everything about that. What are these? right? How can we use this which, who, why, when, that, what, yet, okay, however, whichever, and many more. Now, one more time you see that. Let's see the structure of sentence. Sentence has been divided into many parts, but in respect of clauses, it has been divided into three parts. The first one is here, simple. Why simple? Because it has only one clause. एक ही चीज के बारे में इसमें बात होती है जो बड़ा plain सा होता है. Compound sentences. Compound sentences are those sentences in which you will find two statement, two clause. Okay, दो अलग अलग चीजों के बारे में भी हो सकता है या सेम चीज के बारे में भी हो सकता है, but in a two part. Complex sentence. Complex sentences are those sentences in which we have only one principal clause and the rest part of the sentence has to depend on the principal clause to give its complete sense. See, complex sentences has been divided here for the principal clause and subordinate clause. Principal clause, एक idea देता है, पूरा idea देता है almost. It's able to give the meaning by its own of its अपने sentence की, अपनी statement की पूरी जानकारी दे देता, मीनिंग समझा देता है. But rest part of the sentence has to depend on the principal clause here. Subordinate part, subordinate clause की parts बने हैं, noun clause, adjective clause and adverb clause, right? See here, what are those word which जिसको हम noun clause बोलते हैं. What are those word? What are those noun clause? यहां से हमें पता चलता है कि ये noun clause है, ये adjective clause है and ये adverb clause है. Very soon I will let you know in my next video that how we can combine simple, compound and complex sentences and how we can combine them vice versa and with each other. Stay in touch. Thank you and have a great time.